All right, we got to see finally a full game with Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform, more than 4 snaps, and it went not ideal. I mean, going up against San Francisco, they've made plenty of good quarterbacks look not so good. I actually thought Rodgers played all right in this one. I think there was issues with the Jets as a whole. I don't know if Rodgers was the biggest of those issues. He made some really nice plays in this one. Did have a play or two that I didn't think went too well, including a bad 4th down miss. So we'll get into all of it. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Let's start off with this play. What's going to happen here is it's a really good play by Aaron Rodgers, really, by the Jets in general. It's a 3rd down and 8. It's man coverage, and Rodgers is just saying, you know what? Garrett Wilson's my guy. We saw him do this with Devontae Adams for how many years, now doing it with Garrett Wilson. Rodgers takes a snap, and he's just throwing it there. There isn't well, let's see if this gets open. No, it's 3rd and 8. You're trusting your guy, which is kind of, I think, what a lot of the best quarterbacks do, is they know where to, they know who to trust in these situations. The issue is it doesn't appear to be that open. Like, this appears to be pretty good coverage, but here's the benefit, is the defensive back for San Francisco can't really play the ball. His back is turned towards Rodgers, so Rodgers is going to try to throw it over him. And watch this really back shoulder throw and a great catch from Garrett Wilson. This is a smart decision by Rodgers and a good throw and also a great catch. But at the same time, you're throwing it to the guy who can make great catches, right? So it's not fair to say like he got bailed out by the good catch. Like, no, that was, him throwing it to the guy who makes good catches. Like, this one was another one where it's not a back shoulder, but it's kind of the exact same idea of gets the defensive back turned around. And if Rodgers sees this, he's going to take advantage. And really, that accuracy is perfect, right? I mean, that's exactly where you want it to be. He plays football like he's a pitcher, right? In baseball, he can paint the corners. It's really fantastic stuff. So the accuracy, whatever we feel about the Achilles thing, doesn't seem like it's affecting his accuracy. This play was another good one. It's a zone coverage concept, cover 2 zone on a 3rd down and 7, and the Jets have a pretty creative concept, I would say. That's what they're doing. I guess creative is probably the wrong word. A good concept, a play that can work against this coverage. Have a couple receivers kind of run what are almost like pick type routes. They're not. It's just kind of trying to clear out that area, though. Get the players covering the middle of the field to cover those deeper middle of the field routes, and then you hit the slant all the way towards the bottom of the screen. As you see, that's going to be what happens. Rodgers looks over, and Garrett Wilson, I mean, he's wide open right here. This is good stuff. Rodgers does hit Garrett Wilson. They pick up the 1st down, get all the way to the 10-yard line. Good stuff here. The offense just working, just doing what it needs to do. Unfortunately, that was not the case all the time. There definitely were some issues. Something like this is a good example where it's Tyron Smith going up one-on-one against Nick Bosa. Last season, the big concern for the Jets was their offensive line. It's like, hey, defense should be really good. There's some wide receiver concerns as well, but the offensive line was the number one thing. And then 4 snaps into the season, Aaron Rodgers got injured. Of course, you're going to get hit at some point. It's not fair to blame it on the offensive line, but that being said, they made sure they were going to go out and improve the offensive line, signing Tyron Smith to a $20 million deal. Pretty big deal for an offensive lineman. On this one, it is not going to work out. Nick Bosa makes him look like a turnstile and doesn't actually get the sack, but definitely helps disrupt that play. It was a Leonard Floyd on the other side with a stunt that got the pressure there. So Rodgers has to be tired of Leonard Floyd at this point, but also, good job by Nick Bosa. And, this stuff you want to see go away. This is something that I think if you're a Jets fan, a little bit disappointed that this happened. I think that's fair to say. Also, I got to talk about this one because, I'm not even going to break down the play concept itself because that's kind of less of what we're talking about, but just to set the stage, it's a 3rd down and 5 right here. And what's the kind of main thing we're thinking about when talking about Aaron Rodgers? It's his athleticism. How is he going to be? He's coming off an Achilles injury. Usually that hurts your athleticism, especially right away. Even someone like Kirk Cousins, who doesn't really use his legs, like he had a poor week 1 performance. Like, how is Rodgers going to move around? Well, when this play begins, Rodgers looks down the field. There's a flag at the start, and that actually is going to come into play a little bit, I think. But watch Rodgers as he's going to try and get outside the pocket. How well does he do this? I mean, the answer is not that well. You see him kind of almost hobble out and then throws one that I think that was actually a throwaway. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm making excuses for him. I think he was trying to throw the ball away there. It's possible he just was trying to make the throw and missed horribly, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, say he was trying to throw the ball away because he did apparently think that it was an offsides and they were going to get a 1st down on this one. Although at the same time, then wouldn't you want to take the risk? I don't know. Kind of a weird situation. But as a whole, again, I did not think that certainly not moving like Aaron Rodgers in his prime. And even I think Aaron Rodgers of 2 years ago was moving a little more smoothly than that. Maybe it was one bad play. I don't know. But, definitely something I noticed. Going over to the interception midway through the third quarter, it's an interception, so obviously something went wrong. What was it? Well, it's a man coverage concept, and you have, Garrett Wilson running a route that can definitely work against this coverage. I totally get why Rodgers wants to look in this direction. And in fact, when he takes the snap, I think Garrett Wilson's running this route pretty well. I mean, I think we've seen him run better routes, but I think part of the issue was Rodgers is a bit off balance as he's making this throw. He kind of throws it off one foot. And again, Rodgers in his prime, he could throw it off no feet and have perfect accuracy. But he's a little bit older, coming off the injury, I don't know, those are just the things I think about. The reality is I don't love this ball placement. I think the throw needs to be a lot closer towards the sideline. That's what you need to do. You need to lead Garrett Wilson in that direction. Garrett Wilson has to basically stop here. Because of that, it's an incomplete pass, and then due to luck, the 49ers get a interception. I mean, it was a lucky play by the 49ers. There's no getting around it. I'm not looking at that saying, wow, bad job by Aaron Rodgers. Not really. I mean, it wasn't a great throw. So I guess bad job, but the way I view it is if I'm a PFF grader, I'm not grading this a turnover-worthy play. I'm grading it a negative play, but I'm not grading it a turnover-worthy play, if that makes sense. On the next drive, Rodgers had one of the vintage Aaron Rodgers plays, I thought, where you see a player has jumped pretty heavily off sides. In case you were curious, the center did move right as the player started to jump off sides, but that's his normal motion. That's just what he does. So this was not a false start. I actually went back and watched some of his previous snaps just to make sure. That's just what the center does, not a false start. And then you're going to see Aaron Rodgers, really, I think it's kind of crazy that Lazard got that far open. I mean, it seemed like San Francisco still was playing it out as though it's a real play. So got to give Lazard some credit for getting that open. Again, Rodgers on a free play for a touchdown. Stop me if you've heard that before. Definitely something that he's just become known for doing at this point. This play was probably not Rodgers' best play of the night. It's going to be a one-on-one matchup on a 4th down and 1. You see Garrett Wilson's route on the screen. Definitely a good route against this coverage. I mean, the 49ers have to kind of sell out a bit to make sure they can stop a run, so there is an opportunity to throw the football here. Rodgers is going to take the snap, and Garrett Wilson is open. Not wide open, but there is a window. Now, the thing is, you have to lead Garrett Wilson on this play. This throw has to be further over the middle. Otherwise, this just isn't going to work. That's where the ball needs to be, and there's no one over the middle of the field. This is a blitz, so there's only a safety deep. Other than that, I mean, this is really a pure one-on-one matchup. I don't know how else to say it other than Rodgers just misses this throw. I mean, this is a underthrown football, and it's too far behind the receiver he's trying to hit, Garrett Wilson. I mean, that's a good route by Garrett Wilson, and Rodgers just missed one, and that was an important play for him to hit. So, yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts. After that 4th down miss, it was basically over. The 49ers were able to get in field goal range pretty easily, make it a 3-score game, and at that point, it was ball game. But that being said, there were some nice things from Rodgers. I think, quite frankly, my conclusion that I've come to is, all things considered, I actually think Rodgers played pretty well. Coming off of an Achilles injury, being able to do this, that's not usually supposed to happen. That being said, I think for the Jets, this was a disappointment. Even with yes, you're playing San Francisco, they can do this to the best of teams in the NFL. You were expecting more than this. The Jets have Super Bowl aspirations. Getting crushed week 1, it's just a disappointment. That being said, Aaron Rodgers teams usually get crushed week 1. It's kind of a thing. I wouldn't be too concerned as of right now. If they lose to the Titans next week, then it's time for panic. But you get the Titans, the Patriots, the Broncos, and then the Vikings the following 4 weeks. Some time to definitely find your footing. So, tough loss, but I think they should be okay. That's kind of my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.